Hey guys, it's Allison. So today's video is going to be an April and May wrap-up video and a June TBR list. I haven't done one in a while, so I'm super excited to do this. Let's get on with the video. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Comment down below any videos you want me to do next. Subscribe down below if you're new to my channel. Turn on post notifications to get an update every time I post a video. And let's get started. So for April and May, I read 6 books each, so it was equal. So we're going to start off with April, obviously. So the first book I read was The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson, and I rated that a 3 stars. That was one of the lowest ratings I have done in any of the books that I have read before. So I was really excited to read this book because there was this girl on TikTok that was saying, like, if you like Criminal Minds, you're gonna like these books, and one of them was that one. So I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. I love the basis of the book. I liked what it was. It did remind me of Criminal Minds, but the way it ended, the way the repetition was, and the relationship in the books were kind of confusing, and like something about the book just threw me off, and it wasn't one of the best books that I have read. And the ending wasn't no twist. It was like a straight, like, flat book. It had no depth to it, in my opinion. The next one was The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. That was one of my first Rebecca Yarros books, and that was a 5-star read, honestly. It was about this military guy. He was friends with this guy that had this sister that had twins. Long story short, her brother died, so the brother left a letter to the guy saying, can you take care of my sister? Her and the guy was communicating while he was in the military. When he showed up, he just pretended he was a whole different person. So much stuff had happened in the book. Like, it was going up and down like a roller coaster. And it was like, is this ever gonna stop? And it was like, I literally cried at the end, the way it ended. Oh my goodness. Not me almost gonna tear up right now, but like, the way it ended, I was like, are you serious? But it was such a good book, guys. You gotta read it if you haven't. And I can't wait to read another one of Rebecca Yarros' books. I think the one is like The Things Left Unfinished or something like that. That's a very popular book by her. So I think I'm gonna read that like eventually. So yeah. The next one is The One by John Mars. I rated it 4 stars. That was an interesting book. It was about like a genealogy test that matched you up with your perfect match, and there were 5 points of views in this book. Super crazy. You had to like go back and forth within each character. It wasn't confusing at all. I thought I would be confused, but I wasn't. The only thing about this book was how it ended. I didn't really like how it ended. A 180 moment. It wasn't like a 360 moment, like a whole connection. I thought they were gonna connect the book characters in the book like somehow. They did, but not in the way that I planned. And it was like super duper interesting to just see everybody's points of views. Next book I read was The Crash by Frida McFadden herself. I love every single one of her books that I've read, but this one was not her best. I rated it a 3 stars. And this is one of her newest books that came out earlier this year. It was just not my favorite. Like, she revealed the plot too soon, in my opinion. It felt like you already knew what was going on, and then when she revealed it too soon, I was just like, are you serious? Like, I was shocked that Frida did that because she don't usually do that. But then there was a twist at the end, but it wasn't like the shock that Frida usually gives, you know? So Hidden Pictures. Where is Hidden Pictures? Oh, Hidden Pictures is with my mom. My mom wants to read it. So Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulic, I believe that's his last name. It was such a good book. A thriller, creepy vibe book. And that was like my first ever paranormal kind of book. And it was really good. I rate that a 5 stars. Literally got chills reading that book. What I really liked about the book was that the author added pictures to whatever was happening. The basis of the book is this girl, she ends up babysitting this kid, and the kid starts drawing like different types of pictures, but it's like an imaginary friend type thing. So she starts getting creeped out and like trying to figure out what happened and like why the kid is drawing these pictures, and the pictures end up in the book. So we see all the pictures that the little kid is drawing. So I'm like you just get creeped out, scarier and scarier with every picture that the little kid draws. It's just super duper interesting. How that book ended, I did not expect it at all. All those books that I just mentioned before were all in a video, so I'm going to link that video up below and down below as well. But the next book, I did a video with my friend Natasha, so I'll link that video up below and down below as well. We did a collab together and we read the book Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ning. Rated that book a 4 stars. It was a fiction book, so that was one of my first fiction books that I have read. So it wasn't my favorite. It was a really good basis and a really good book, but I would not read it again. The way it ended, you didn't expect it, but then at the same time you would, because the way that they got love for each other in the book, you expected that to happen. It was based on the future, and there was a lot going on, like financial, political ruin and stuff like that. And based on this little boy who he was trying to look for his mother, because his mother like disappeared, and he was trying to go find her. And then there's 3 parts to this book, I believe, or 2 parts. But the first part was him like longing for her. The second part was like his mother's background story. And the third part was like the conclusion of the book. Not gonna lie, like it's not like I didn't want to read it, but it's not one of my favorites. That's why it is a 4, because it wasn't a 3. I was between a 3.5 and a 4, but I gave it a 4. So going into May, like I said, I read 6 books as well. So the first book I read was I Am Watching You on my Kindle, and I rated that a 4 stars. That is by Teresa. It was a really interesting book. It was about this woman. She was on the train. She saw these girls on the train talking to these random guys. These random guys just had gotten out of prison or whatever. And little does she know, one of them ends up like disappearing. So she feels like it was her fault that she didn't do anything about it. It goes back and forth with them points of views. And then obviously at the end, we find out like what actually happened. Multiple people that you think it is, honestly. I read that on my Kindle. I don't have the physical copy of the book. The next one was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. That was one of my first Abby Jimenez books that I have read. As you can see, I have like her other book, Yours Truly, but I have never read it. Let me tell you guys, this book was super duper awesome. I rated it a 5 stars. I thought in the beginning it was kind of cringy, but then the cringe went away after everything happened. And this was a long distance relationship, Grumpy meets Sunshine, and their first date was amazing. Like, I could imagine it, but the way the character, the main character, the girl, throws at the guy, Xavier, after their first date was super duper crazy. And I was just like, are you kidding? Like, I did not expect that to happen. And the way they worked out their relationship throughout the book and everything like that was super duper interesting. And how it ended, it was like literally a full circle moment. It was the most cutest thing ever. But I would literally recommend that book. That was one of her new releases. So yeah, that just literally came out. And I also did a video on these books that I'm talking about as well, that I will link up below and down below as well. So the next book that I read was on Kindle, and this is A Beautiful Couple by Leslie Wolfe, I believe. I rate that book a 4 stars. The book was based on this married couple, and guy ends up hitting someone with his car. Then the wife is like, you gotta call the police. But he's like, no, we can't, because I'm so like high and all that stuff. Not high, but you know, like as in like high powered kind of. And she's like, you got to. But then they don't. And that's how the story goes on. And we find out what happens. The cops are looking around. They're getting very close. All this stuff happens in this book. It was pretty interesting. I didn't rate it a 5 stars because, like, I don't know, it didn't have that shocking, oh my goodness kind of moment. So that's why I rated it a 4 stars. But, and also not every book gets a 5 star, because that would be crazy. I am not a harsh rater, like I have said in many videos. The next book I read was The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. This is the second book to The Perfect Marriage, and it was not my favorite. I rated that a 3. I just didn't like it. If you guys have read it, you guys probably have read it, but it was not my favorite. it was the same perpetrator. It had no like depth to it, honestly. Like, I was confused on why like she was the one to do it. Like, nobody was bothering her to be doing that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, she put stuff onto herself. Like, I don't know. And the way it ended, it was just like, are you serious? She didn't get caught. Like, that was how I felt. And yeah, let me know down below if you have read that book and what your thoughts were. But I have nothing else to say about this book. The next book I read was The Tenant by Frida McFadden. So she upped her game on that one. I gave that a 5 stars. I was hoping that the book was really good. In the beginning, honestly, if you saw my vlog, for the good 150 pages, I think it was 150 to 200 pages actually, that I was just like, I just didn't really like it. Like I said in the book, I said in the vlog that it kind of reminded me of The Housemaid. The Housemaid I really liked, but it just gave me that vibe, and I was just like, you know, when authors like repeat their cycle, it just gets boring after a while. So I thought that's how it was gonna be. I tell you, like page 200 something or close to 200 something, the shocker came, and I was just like, oh, this is getting good. And the way it ended, I was like, I was shook, guys, shook. Frida has done her thing. She's coming out with like 2 other books this year. She's like just killing it with these books. She's just been rolling out with these books. And the last book that we read in May is Passion Project by London Sperry. That's one of the book of the months that I had read. That's April's book of the month, but I read it in May, and that was a 5 as well. Like, I love the basis of the book. It wasn't like your typical relationship, and it was a full circle moment. Like, I always say it in every video if it is, but it was literally a full circle moment. The relationship was the most cutest thing ever. I don't know what else to say about that book. I think you just guys have to read it because it was based in New York. It was about this girl. She was depressed. She had anxiety. She wasn't living up to her best self. And then she met this guy because her friend put her on a dating app, but she didn't want to meet him. Eventually, she ended up meeting him by coincidence. And he mentioned the passion project to her, and it's basically just finding your way in life, finding what you really like to do. And they did it together, and it was like a back and forth thing, and it was just so adorable. And like, there was, I believe, 2 downs. Like, it was like an up and down kind of moment twice in this book, but it was, you know, it was expected with their relationship. If you guys read it, like, I really recommend this book. So the books that I want to read for June is The Wife Before, and that is a mystery thriller type book. Then The Ex Vows, Beartown by Frederick Bachman, Great Big Beautiful Life, Summer in the City, and Promise Me Sunshine. Probably Promise Me Sunshine, Summer in the City, and Great Big Beautiful Life will be pushed to July, because those remind, like, especially Summer in the City and Promise Me Sunshine reminds me of summer books, so that might be pushed to July, and it just depends on how fast I read, honestly. Definitely Beartown, Ex Vows, and The Wife Before, and maybe other books that I have. I just couldn't remember the books that I had currently. Those were the books that came to mind to me, so those are the books that are going to be on my TBR. Let's see how much we can do, but yes. That was everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.